This video, I walk through the two conceptual problems in today's lessons: construction safety and health, problem one and problem two. First, in problem two, the change of events concept. When something happened, we want to see what the chain of event, why it's happened, not the way it happened, right? So that is the problem one. So that when you have that, we can have a lesson learned, so that we can avoid the similar accident in the future. So the newspaper report of a construction fatality was as follows. The title normally is, you see the newspaper, they make short: 40-foot 4 kills bridge worker. A 50 years old carpenter fell 40 feet to his death yesterday as he worked on the X bridge. The victim was moving supplies on a scaffold on a bridge pier when his glove caught on a nail and he was thrown off balance. He is survived by his wife and 3 children. The tabulation which follow is very simple change of events analysis of the accident, so that we can see what the event, a series of events involved that lead to the fatal accidents in this case. Provide some question that if considered by construction manager and the worker could prevent similar happenings. So that here the event on the left side and the question on the right side that I have provided for the solution of these problems. The event, as you can see when we read from the news, first the work located 40 feet high for the bridge construction, and the worker wearing a glove because you see that his glove caught on a nail. And then the second, wear glove, and why? What happened? Glove caught on a nail, and worker throw off balance and fell. Worker throw off balance and fell. And then after injury care, what happened when he fall out, any first aid, etc. So those are the event, and then we raise a series of questions so that we can know the underlying, the insight of the action, so that we can have a lesson learned and avoid in the future. And that happen, you can use this same concept, the uh, change of events, to evaluate yourself. For example, you do the exam and then you see what happened to get that I get a good grade in this exam, or what are the events, the change of events that lead me to not a good performance in the exam, so that you can question yourself and then you can try to answer it and then avoid that same similar negative um, actions or events, so that you can improve your exam performance in the future. So it can apply not only action but any that I mentioned. Example here, the work located 40 feet height. So we have a question: is, were there any provision for the safety access? Was a worker wearing safety belt that were tie up? So safety belt, working hand safety belt. If something, the worker off balance, safety belt will hold him or her. Were there a safety net below? Because if it safety net, then it fall out, it will on the safety net. Had the safety officer alerted him to the hazard so that he aware when he work? So it's very important. So that are working 20 feet from high. And go back to the our design for safety. If we can question, we can have other questions. And you can see in the design for safety that you have earlier here, design components to facilitate prefabrication. Can we do that in this case so that we can struck by falling or exposed to fall? So instead of have multiple components work at 40 feet height, we can fabricate on the ground and lift up, or you can fabricate that on the factory and transport to the site, erect. So that reduce the number of workers involved, can reduce the safety. So as you can see, we can ask multiple questions, not only a few representative questions that I saw in here. Worker wearing gloves. Work glove the right kind in a good conditions. Should he have been wearing them at this point, at this time of work, or he don't have to? Glove cuts on nail. Why protruding nails? Why the nail is exposed to that so that he caught? Worker threw off balance and fell. Why and when? A hazardous situation. Did the worker make an impulsive move that threw him off the balance? Why didn't handrail or two what stop his fall? Why that? When there is handrail, if there is why the handrail did not stop his fall? It's not high enough. It's not secure enough. Things like that. After injury care, were the first aid, medical care, or ambulance available in case of the worker survive from fall? If it announced, declare that at that time, we don't talking about the first after injury care, but it have some form of life. So first aid it play a key role to make sure the worker have some first support before he or she will be transported to the emergency. So those are the serious questions that we have with the when an accident involved. And like I said, you can apply to any thing like that in our daily life. The second problem I just introduced you it not about the really the problem, but the safety based program by OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. So if you click on that, you will have the here recommended practices for safety and health program and safety page. If you go to the safety OSHA safety page 2, you can be able to determine what is the cause of different time of accident. Click begin here. So you select either the injury type. If I take it the let's see electrical shock, if we have here electric shock, for example, it's one time of the popular accident in the construction. Enter profit margin. Suppose to profit margin is 5%. Enter percent. Enter the number of injury, just only one injury involved. So you can calculate in here. So you have that estimate total cost, the extent to which employer pays the direct cost depends on the nature of employer workers compensation insurance policy, something we talking about in the previous lesson. And then employer always pay the indirect cost. So as you can see, injury type, electric shock, only one. Direct cost 120,000. Indirect cost 132,000. So total cost of one electrical shock is $250,000. And additional sale indirect is it may have effect because of that is because when you have a safety issues, people may not want to award the contract to you. So additional sale indirect losses can be 2.6 million. So that additional sale total it may be 5 million. So that you can see it extremely costly. So one accident, one electrical shock may lose potentially lost 5 million, as you can see, to cover the total cost here. Sell to cover the total cost. Obvious one is EBIT 5% profit margin. Let me state again here. The cost for electrical shock, including indirect and direct, is $252,000. And with the 5% profit margin for construction, you need to have additional sales that have to cover the total costs is 5 million to cover for the 252%. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, when you have the not good safety record, potentially you reduce your revenues because one of the client consider when award the contract is what is your safety record. safety performance, things like that. Okay, so and here you have a pressure to cover that. You need to have extra sales, extra revenue, but at the same time, when you have a safety issues, accident involved, you have less likely to get the contract. So that very tricky situation. So that we always have to try to prevent accident, even zero accidents. That is the target for many construction company in today's information era in modern areas in this time. So with that, we close for these lessons and hope you learn something about the construction safety and what you can play, you as a designer, engineer play to ensure the safety when your work, your drawings, your ideas become reality that performed by contractors, performed by the workers.